Good morning. I'm really excited to have this discussion with you today because, of course, we're not just surrounded by friends but colleagues. And we've watched this journey of 25 years, and we're at that point where the shift is happening. I met with one of my good friends, many of you know him, Frank D'Souza. And he said to me, Kevin, many of you know has his own private equity. It's called Recognize. And I was in New York, and I was at his offices, and he's also one of our advisory board members. And he says, Kevin, this is just an amazing life. How many of us get not just one time, but two chances to see an incredible wave of innovation in front of us? We went through it in the 2000s with the dot-com boom, and we're going to see it again with AI and the transformation it will bring. And I sat back, and he's a great thought leader. When we meet, we oftentimes have these just piercing, interesting discussions. And he says, we're just the luckiest people on the planet. But that dot-com boom, that seed of innovation all happened under the auspices of globalization, right? It was globalization, not just in the way that Thomas Friedman discussed it, but more broadly, transboundary, which allowed us to take advantage of low-cost labor, which allowed us to move our businesses globally, to really communicate for the first time and take advantage of all those global capabilities that the world would offer us. And what are we? We have been, all of us, the gateway for our clients to be able to access that value, right? That underpinning, that system today is simultaneously under threat. At the same time, we're seeing these opportunities in innovation and technology, and how we react to that is going to define our industry for the next 25 years. And today, I'm going to build off of the reason I showed you that video is because some of you may not have been at our event in May, and I set the underpinnings for what some of the challenges are or the threats to not just our industry, but globalization more broadly. Some people call it the repolarization of the world. Remember, we grew up in the Cold War, most of us, and growing up in the Cold War meant there was an East and there was a West. There was an Iron Curtain. Our children today, they only know what happened post-2000. We're entering back into a world that is a divided world. And what does that mean for the globalization and the businesses that we created in these new models? Tariffs are also a challenge for our clients because they are moving targets. Currency instability is a challenge because of inflation. Uncertainty with the introduction of new technology-based currency. And AI and labor disruption. If I expected to get a 30% savings by going to India or Mexico or Eastern Europe and taking my services there, or maybe even my production, supply chain, manufacturing, can I still expect that? And in 5 years, what's going to change that if I sign that deal with a service provider, that I'm going to be still in the same place and that deal is going to make sense? Last year I stood before you and I said, stop the race to the bottom. How many of you remember that? Okay. How many of you remember that? I was yelling and screaming on stage. I remember that. I was yelling and screaming because what I was telling you is I was begging you, do not destroy our industry. Because we have to maintain price to drive innovation. And we have to build deals that last 5 years or 7 years so we can recover that investment. These 2 to 3 year transactions are not saving your life, they're killing you. Okay? And that's what I was talking about. Today, I have some good news to announce. And we're going to talk about the hope. Avasant's 27% up over last year. What did I tell you last year? We were pretty flat. And by the way, that's good news for you. Because if we're up, that means you have a potential to be too. There's a silver lining there. I'm also going to talk about that. But within these threats against globalization, there's an opportunity to transform the industry. So if tariffs are a concern and clients don't know where they're going to move their operations, you can insulate them because you have a global delivery capability. If there's a challenge in India, you can move to Mexico. You can move somewhere else. You can help your customers. That's how you're going to sell to them in this next round. If there's a geopolitical conflict, don't worry. If it's between India and Pakistan or it's between Ukraine and Russia, don't worry. We have global operations, client, customer, and we're going to insulate you. And we're going to build transactions to ensure that you are protected. So you should sign up on that next managed services deal. If you're worried about the impact of AI and whether or not it's going to be meaningful for you in your next, don't worry. That's what we're here for. We have our partners like Avasant and Microsoft and so many other technology firms, and we're going to bring them in, and we're going to create that value creation office, and we're going to engineer transformation over the next 5 to 7 years. And don't worry if you don't have all the answers, and more importantly, don't worry if we don't have all the answers, because we're going to discover them together. And we're going to de-risk you by doing so. And we're going to take on the currency risk, because you know why? Because we can. That's what we need to start telling our clients, because we are unfreezing them. And that's what I'm telling our clients. Hey, it's okay to go into these deals. You want to do a GCC because you want to protect your IP, you want to go to market, no problem. But we still have partners that you're going to need, right? We still have specialization that needs to happen. So despite these headwinds on our industry, economic gravity, the movement of trade, people, and capital cannot be stopped, because we'll always find a way for those deals to happen. And if we now say that we're going to tax services because we are intent on destroying our innovation capacity, go ahead, tax services. We will find a way to make sure that our clients are not encumbered. Tariffs on services, I'm going to make one statement about this, and do not say that I'm being political, okay? If anyone says I'm being political. China is a closed system for innovation. They control the money, the resources, the engineering talent. Does that really work in the United States and Europe? Okay, we have a Microsoft. We have any of you, I'm not going to mention you because you'll think I'm singling you out. We'll talk about the hyperscale. We have a Google. Where is their innovation? Funded in the US, executed in India, delivered in Europe. We start tariffing ourselves, we are innovating ourselves against the Chinese innovation. They don't have that problem. They are laughing at us. Yes, keep tariffing yourselves. Because you know what? You're not going to be able to invest in innovation. And that's exactly what's going to happen, particularly if we go down the road of services. But we will have to be nimble. We'll have to be prepared to move from one geo to another geo, move our clients and customers. That's what we're going to tell them that you're going to do for us. So be ready. We're going to coach you through it. We're going to build the models at Avasant that are going to help us provide that dynamic model for the client so that they feel great about working with you and insulated from the risk. Economic gravity, if we play this right, will put us in a perpetual state of globalization. Because whoever wants to isolate us, Brexit, we've been talking about it for years. Now American isolation, Indian isolation, we don't care. We care about business and doing great work for our clients. We care about having ideas free-flowing. We care about innovation free-flowing. And geopolitics cannot destroy innovation, and tariffs cannot destroy ideas, and humanity, while optimized by AI, cannot be replaced by it. Because we're all here, aren't we? I don't see any AI in the room, because human beings make deals happen. And that's what you guys are. You're all deal makers. You're innovators, you're strategists, and that will continue. So we have some big bets, the evolution and big bets for service providers. And not just, I say service providers, but it's really all of us. We're going to utilize AI to drive more human productivity. We're going to de-risk client operations. This is really key. I want you to keep your hands down if you made money last year. Oh, no one made, we've all made money? Everybody made money? Okay, let's flip that around. How many of your companies had financial challenges last year? Now raise your hands. You're all liars. What we're going to do is we're going to de-risk the client operation in the same way that we always have, by shifting the risk to you. And we're going to benchmark the cost of that shift of risk so that you're not taking on that burden without some cost recognition of what that cost is. Today, we are the #1 benchmarking firm in the world. Every strategy firm in the world buys our benchmarks. All of our competitors, with the exception of one, buys our benchmarks. All of them do. Bet you didn't know that. That includes McKinsey, BCG, Deloitte, going on. But we also provide benchmarks for the cost analysis of the equation, so we can truly understand exactly what that cost is going to be as we restructure these deals. And that's going to be critical, because we don't want to engineer low-cost race to the bottom deals. Let's talk about investing in industry-specific solutions. I'm going to talk about that. That's critical for us right now, specialization. We want to move up the curve of maturity on services. That means more complex services, R&D services, services that require thinking, PhD, accounting, et cetera. We are able to move those into that outsourced model. We're not just talking about low-end services. In order for us to maintain and push outsourcing, we got to provide more higher value services, because they'll be supported by AI. And we want to support the client's dreams about GCCs. How many of you today believe that GCCs is offshoring? If you believe that's the case, then we have not defined it correctly for our customers, because it actually is something else, and I'm going to talk about that. I show this model all the time, and this one is getting more and more complex. But we know the story. We know the story that the value of labor arbitrage is falling as we move through these phases of outsourcing. We also know that right about now in the 2020s, we're seeing a flip where we're not getting the same value and margin out of outsourcing transactions because cost of labor and delivery is rising. So how do we flip this? More specialization, we can charge more for higher value services, introduction of AI and technology-based solutions, right? And reversing the race to the bottom. These are all the things that need to happen simultaneously. This all means re-engineering the outsourcing deal. If no one is talking to you about this, or no one else is talking to you about this, it's because they're not smart enough. Because this is hard. This is going to be hard to do. I tell my partners all the time that we are not a transaction house. We are supporting our clients in creating the solutions, and we're working with all of you as partners on those solutions. GE, great case study. I've used it in the past, but why I love it is because they've actually showed that they've been able to go through all these cost arbitrage offshoring models to innovation and capability and expansion in R&D, and now value creation, which is really focused on market entry in their F414 engines, which they're building overseas. The supply chain and go-to-market is now truly global. And AI is helping this journey, right? It's going to help us reshape the deal structures, pricing, profitability models. Everything that I'm talking about is getting redone within Avasant. You will see it when you talk to us. You'll see it because you're going to hear it from our partners. So, 82% of clients expect higher productivity through AI, but they don't know how to get to it. We're going to help them, all of us. 64% of clients aspire for outcome-based pricing. We know that. 60% of clients are asking us to bundle AI with core services. They want to work with the tech pioneers. They want to work with the hyperscalers. But they don't know how to engineer that into the processes of their business. And how is this going to affect margins, and how is it going to affect the business? Well, it's going to increase it. And we're going to drive more economies of scale. So, let's talk about de-risking client operations. What's happening around us? Google Cloud investing $2 billion to build the first Malaysia data center. We are de-risking from China. This is actually taking away the China risk. TSMC, China risk on Taiwan, $65 billion de-risking in the Arizona program. So chip manufacturing de-risking, not just in years, but in months. Apple, 71% of iPhones now, did you know this? Sold in the US in 2025 were made in India. De-risking, okay, from China. And global service providers, that's all of you, I'm going to make a call to action here. We must also actively de-risk our businesses. We do so not by exiting regions, but by ensuring that clients have choices and options. It's a different dialogue in how we sell our own platforms and services today. The opportunities for service providers to thrive continue in investing in industry-specific solutions. Let's talk about that. I mentioned that certain industries are really growing, and they're growing because we're making significant investments in specialization. Well, what are those? Healthcare. BFSI right now is off the charts. Manufacturing, aerospace and defense, utilities, energy, resources, high tech and media. These industries today are experiencing tremendous growth for Avasant. And we expect that they will have the same value to you. This afternoon, you're going to be talking with various different industry leaders. And when you do that, I want you to dive into understanding what that means. We have multiple BFSI deals going on today. We had a partner meeting, and I was asking, okay, what's the spend on those deals? Oh, about 1.3 billion per year. One deal. That was just one. So these are massive, massive mega deals. And when we have that type of opportunity to transform a customer, it's not only thrilling and exciting, but it demonstrates that clients really want to do something, right? Let's talk about specialization in GCCs. This is not offshoring, okay? I would like all of us today to agree on this common definition. This is a global competency center. That, by Avasant's definition, means the people in the center can exist globally. Not in India, not in Mexico, not in the US, everywhere. And it needs to be, because why the GCC is in Eastern Europe or in India or wherever it is because that's where the go-to-market is. Could be one of the reasons for being there. That's where the supply chain is. That's where the manufacturing is. But the expertise can come from anywhere. And we need to be that nimble in these GCCs because God knows if we start taxing and tariffing services, we need to be able to move expertise around. GCCs gives us a competency and opportunity to go to market in the regions where they are, expand client revenues, and that's what we're focusing on. Driving not just specialized resources, but also investment in technology and AI and building new partnerships. Don't think GCCs are designed to just move you into staff aug models, because I think that's what many of you believe. That may be phase one as clients build, but as they gain maturity, what are they going to do? Outsource. What do they do here in the United States and in Europe? Starts in staff aug, maturity, automation, then managed services. And that will happen again. This is a deal cycle that continues over and over again. And over 55% of our clients today are exploring these new GCCs. Matt Barlow, one of our partners, he was on NASDAQ and he was doing an interview. And one of the people that he was one of the other guests on the panel, it's good I don't remember their name because I'm about to say something that they probably won't like. But he says, oh yeah, GCCs, this is just an offshoring captive center rebrand. Don't let it be that. Because that's where there is no value in that. That's the labor arbitrage game. The value is in the IP. The value that we're going to give them, the customers, is in that global delivery model, and that's where we're going to make money. All of us. Do not let that definition be hijacked. Our own competitors, advisors, hijacking that definition. Just another captive center, another rebrand. We call them offshoring, then captives. You will destroy the opportunity if that's what you tell your clients. Because they're going to expect what? Labor arbitrage. Not what we really want to do in these centers, right? We want to generate revenue there. So what have we seen over the last 18 months?